Money, money, Silas, money, Today we are discussing Money Silas, but real quick, we just finished about a 6 week trip where we went to Ibagué for 1 week, Armenia for 2 weeks, and then Money Silas for 2 weeks, which we're discussing, and then we were in the Medellin area between Amaga, Caldas, and Medellin for about 4 days. But we are now back in Bogota, which feels good because Bogota is kind of like our home base. We usually spend 2 or 3 months here and then go bounce to other places across Colombia. So it feels good to be back to have some sort of normalcy for ourselves. But Monty Silas was really special for Whitney because
Yes, Manizales. I really like Manizales because 12 years ago we visited with my family. We did so many new things as a family. We went to the Nevado together, and it's just a place that I hold dearly to my heart.
Yeah,
so I really, really like Manizales.
we went around recreating a couple photos that she took like 12 years ago, so that was fun.
Yeah, we missed a couple, but
That's fine. I think we'll be back for sure. The overall uniqueness of Monty Silas for me was the fact that like this whole city is like laid out across multiple mountain peaks and kind of go layers on the side of them, versus like when you go to other cities across Colombia, they're usually in a valley of the mountains or they're in a plateau of the mountains, like Bogota. Medellin is in like a valley, or Cali is in a flat part.
Yeah.
It's right next to the mountains. This Money Silas is on top of multiple mountains, so it gives you like really different views of the city all the way around if you go to different parts of the city, and I found that to be very unique. It felt like in towns towns are either on top of a mountain, on the side of a mountain, sometimes in the valley, but this was like all over the mountains. This particular city. So it kind of gave you that feel of what you get in the small towns, but also the feel of like a larger city.
I think the overall uniqueness for me is how safe Manizales feels. It's a big city, but it feels as safe as a small town. Everyone is pretty relaxed, pretty content, and it just felt very, very safe. And talking to other Colombians, like a lot of people mentioned the same thing about Manizales, that they felt super safe, and that's something that the city is very proud of.
Let's get into activities. One of the major activities you can find in Manizales, because it's kind of like in a volcanic area, are hot springs or termales. We went to Termales Otoño. There's a lot of different other ones. We heard this was the nicest one, so we're like, okay, we're gonna go there. And it wasn't far from like Manizales. You can just take a taxi ride there. It was like 20 minutes to get there, I think, and it was awesome. There were, the way they structured this one, they had different pools.
Three different ones.
One was like super hot, which is the one we really liked. We saw a bunch of Colombians getting in and they were like, oh my god,
So hot.
it's so hot. But it was really pretty, just a great place to go relax. Definitely the thing to do if you go visit Monte Silas is to check out any of the hot springs that they have in the area.
Hola amigos, let's go explore. Let's go, vámonos.
Dora Day, Whitney.
Johnny is fascinated by this specific plant because the leaves are bigger than him.
Whitney's not excited about this.
Okay, let's go that one.
It's not?
It's so good. It's so good. Okay.
You lasted like 10 seconds.
God. Get your back, don't cheat.
Mermaid's getting wonderful. Mermaid in the wild. You got this, mermaid. That was way more smooth.
Another activity that we kind of stumbled upon was a soccer game. So we watched the Once Caldas, which is the team of Manizales, in a soccer match against another Colombian team. But we were just going to dinner, everything. Like there was a lot going on around the stadium, and I was like, Johnny, what's going on? Like, what? Why is there so many people? Like, I want to know.
We
And
bought
there's so
tickets off
much
the street.
energy. And so we found out there was a soccer game, and I was like, we need to go, we need to go. And so I convinced Johnny to go to the soccer stadium, and we got tickets off the street from a random person. And we watched the first half of the game, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was very eventful. The crowd was crazy. Actually have never been to a soccer game outside of the States. Actually, I've never really been to a soccer game ever. I don't really like soccer or football. But I did get to see a crazy drunk fan go jump into the stadium, and he was like
To the field.
Yeah, he's getting confrontational with all the players, and like it took like 12 people to get this guy off the field. It was quite hilarious. I was like, man, this is everything I expected.
Yeah, the game wasn't very good, so that was the most entertaining part of the game. But it was just really exciting to share that moment with people from Manizales.
And that stadium's really cool. What's the name of the stadium?
Palo Grande.
Palo Grande. And throughout the daytime, you're going to see people using the soccer fields that are nearby, the tennis courts. They have a little skate park. I think we saw some boxing going on. So,
Yeah.
They really use
Tennis, volleyball.
Yeah, recreationally use that stadium. So that's really cool to check out if you're visiting Manizales, is to just go walk around and see the activity of the locals using that facility.
Mira, you got pretend you're excited.
Another activity that we did was ciclovia. Just like any major city in Colombia, Manizales always has ciclovia on Sundays. So, Johnny, like you as a foreigner, what is ciclovia to you?
Ciclovia is what happens on Sundays in most of the major cities, where they block off major streets to have bicyclists, and mainly bicyclists go up and down the street, or people are running or just taking casual walks. So it kind of creates this really like cultural experience of like just being outside and enjoying outside. And the streets are typically safer because there's so many people just going outside to recreationally enjoy themselves. But we decided to walk it.
Yeah, it's like controlled critical mass.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, we decided to walk the entire ciclovia, starting from like 3 blocks away from the cable all the way to downtown. And along the way, we stopped on Parque de la Mujer and just a few malls.
Yeah, check that out. It was only about 4 miles walking, but it didn't feel that long because there was so much activity and things to do, and it wasn't like really like hilly. That particular road was pretty flat.
Well, we were going like a little bit down.
Yeah, a little
if
bit
you
down.
were to start in downtown on the way to cable, you will feel,
You feel the elevation for sure. Once we got to downtown, we decided to check out their very, very large cathedral. Unfortunately, they had ran out of tickets to go up to the top of it, but we were able to go to like their coffee shop, and it was just a large cathedral. Mass was going on nonstop since we got there. They must have been having back-to-back masses just going on. I mean, it was a Sunday. And it was just really cool to check out. Right in front of the cathedral is Plaza de Boulevard, and it was just another Plaza de Boulevard, very large square area.
It was a bit different.
The statue was different.
The Bolivar statue.
The Boulevard statue was like this like vulture eagle thing, like,
But it was human. It was like a
It was
weird
weird.
representation of Bolivar.
it was kind of creepy. I'm just gonna be honest. I thought it was a creepy statue. I don't know if other people feel that way, but I just thought it was a creepy statue. But it, like all towns and cities across Colombia, they have a
Plaza Bolívar.
massive church that you can check out. It's usually colonial, and this one was really big. They had a coffee shop actually inside of it, which I thought was really cool. So we stopped and had a coffee and just enjoyed the view and the vibe of the place. So that's cool to check out.
Yeah, just know that you can go all the way to the top of the cathedral, but they have weird schedules and no information is online. You kind of have to just like go to the cathedral to get the tickets. And like Johnny said, when we went, they had run out, and then they just had until later in the time, and we just didn't have the time
Yeah.
that day.
In general, I just feel like Colombia is stuck in the 90s and with online information, and like half of the information online is basically wrong.
Well, there was no information online about
This
how
is
to
true
go out
almost
there.
everywhere you go. It's frustrating. Now let's talk about the next thing.
Because of the way that Manizales is built in like different mountains, it has tons of miradores. One of them is Chipre.
Which is on the west side of the city.
It's on the west side of the city. You can also find the Monumento de los Colonizadores there. We saw like a small art exposition in that small park, and they also have like tons of food trucks and just a couple different spots where you can see the sunset.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And then on the other side of the city, on the east side, they have I forget the name of these miradores.
Mirador de Niza.
Near the Milan area, and it just kind of gives you a different view of the city that's a little bit closer to Nevado de Ruiz, which we did not see at all because it was
So
rainy season.
cloudy.
It was rainy season and cloudy. We went in the month of October, but in the dry season, I'm sure you can see it. It's like spectacular, which makes me want to go back.
Well, now that you say that, going back to Chipre, they have a water tower where you can go all the way to the top and kind of like get a 360 view of the city. But right when we got there, it was so cloudy, like we
A
couldn't
freaking big
see
cloud came in and
anything.
just blocked the whole view. So I was like, oh, cool, look, a giant cloud. Is what it is. We're not always lucky. Another thing that we did not do or make the time for was that another way to view the city is to do the cable cart that goes from Manizales to the city or town that's south of Manizales, Villa
Maria.
We just didn't have time to do it, but I'm sure it would have been awesome. Just a different view. So like Chipre on the west side, Milan is going to be on the east side, and then the cable cart is going to be on the south side, and the view is just completely different on each part of that city, so it is a neat city I want to go back to for sure.
When it's not rainy season.
Yes. Dry season, which you could say for like every single city across Colombia. Go during dry season. December, January, February.
Made it to a park. Jump up there.
Another big activity that we missed was going to Nevado del Ruiz and doing some hiking.
That's because it was rainy season, so it was really cloudy, so I don't know how much we would have really seen in terms of views. Plus, also because it was rainy season, it was really dangerous. In fact, a lot of the information I was reading about like the heavy rainfall is like how dangerous it was for potential mudslides or just being really muddy that you could get stuck or lost or something. So we just didn't want to risk it. But because we now know that about that particular region, we definitely want to make plans in the future to be in Manizales during dry season to obviously do one of our favorite activities, which is hiking, and to see the Nevado on a clear day, hopefully.
The thing is, like during those 2 weeks when it rained, which it was every day,
Yeah.
it poured, like it was heavy rain.
Yes, every single day that we were there for those 2 weeks.
It was intense.
But there were moments that it broke out and there was some sun out and it was really nice. But yeah, I mean, it is rainy season. We got to experience even some more of the catastrophe after we left Manizales because we went to the Medellin. We took a bus from Medellin, or
From Manizales.
Manizales to Medellin, and that the whole road had several different small landslides that had destroyed parts of the road. So there was just so much construction where they were having to stop and only let one way of traffic go, and it just made the bus ride pretty long.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a picture here in this cafe in the cathedral that gives me the perspective of what Manizales would look like if it was not rainy season and the dry season. And you'd be able to see Nevado de la Ruiz, which is pretty cool, pretty awesome. Moving on from activities, let's talk about climate. You guys know from other videos that I love to just kind of experience like what the climate is like. Manizales was a little bit warmer than Bogota, and I kind of liked it for that because when it rained in Manizales, I didn't get that like cold chill like you get in Bogota. You're like, oh, this is really, really chilly.
It gets in your bones.
Which because Bogota almost drops into like the 40s, upper 40s or mid 40s sometimes when it rains, especially at night. Whereas it felt like in Manizales, it was probably getting to around 60, maybe just below 60, and this is Fahrenheit. But I like that, and it felt warm enough during the daytime that if I wanted to, I could probably wear a t-shirt and jeans, and it feel very comfortable outside during the daytime. Bogota is not always like that because as soon as a cloud covers the sun, it's like, oh wow, where's my jacket and sweater? Like
Yeah.
I'm always in Bogota, I'm always walking around with a sweater or jacket because I'm like, that just
We
happens so
both.
quick, so quickly. And I would put on this sweater or jacket because it just it cools off like that quick. But then the sun comes out and it's like, oh my gosh, let me take this off. But in Manizales, I didn't feel like I needed to do that as much. Even when it rained, it didn't feel super chilly.
Let's talk about safety again. So Manizales just feels very, very, very safe. Like you can see people on their phones. We saw a lady on the bus in downtown with her laptop.
Yeah, it was like exposed in her purse, and she didn't seem to have like a problem with it. And
She was very comfortable. And
it's not the case in Bogota.
no, don't do that. But also, like, we just felt really safe walking, you know, from our Airbnb to the gym, to the mall, to the Miradores. It felt just super safe. Obviously, we're not always like taking our phones and just like,
We're not being a papaya,
no, we're not giving papaya.
whatever it is. I'm not a papaya. I screwed up the
It still felt like we felt at ease walking.
yeah.
It's just that simple. In Manizales, we stayed in two different Airbnbs, but both were in the vicinity of a stadium. And in that area, there were tons of restaurants.
With a good amount of variety and different flavors. There's a really good Peruvian one. There was a really good Japanese restaurant. And
The Mexican
there was a
one,
Mexican one,
the Colombian one.
which has not been the case going to other cities like Ibagué or Armenia. It was hard to find different styled restaurants like other cultures, which is something that I like. I don't want just like Colombian food. There was so much Colombian food only in those other cities and stuff that I was like, I'm tired of this. I want something else. Where's my ramen? Where's my ramen at? Where's my curry? But anyways, there was just a good variety of restaurants, and I really liked that about Manizales.
And again, because it was so safe to walk around, we just walked to all these places. We had lunch or dinner, and then we would go and get dessert. We found a chocolate place in Manizales. The Bump.
There's only two negatives. The first one was the fact that I saw so many young people smoking cigarettes.
Cigarettes, babe, like it was lots of smoking.
Yeah, I personally, for us too, we don't like smoking of any type, excess amount of smoking or putting extra substances into your lungs is just something that I just can't believe people do personally. But it was just like shocking to me to see so many young people doing it. I just have not seen that in any other city across Colombia. This just smoking cigarettes, and I just thought that was very interesting. The other negative is the fact that we were there during rainy season and it rained every day, so we didn't get to do the activities we really like doing, like hiking and enjoying nature, because nature was just being a little bit too rainy.
It just, and like I mentioned before, when it rained, it poured.
Yes.
It was a lot of rain.
It's a lot.
But those are basically the two negatives that we have. Like, I love Manizales personally.
I think it's a great city that is a big city with modern conveniences, but also has a little bit more laid back vibe that you find in smaller towns, but is a little bit bigger than the smaller towns, giving you those modern conveniences. And I liked it for that. I could see myself going back there for another month or two for sure.
I would love to.
Yeah. And maybe meet Where's Wes. So that'd be super cool. At least shake your hand or something. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed watching this, like, subscribe, and all of that. Leave a comment.
If you've been to Manizales, what are your thoughts? Let us know.
Yeah. What did we miss? What should we check out next time?
Ay, Manizales.